Hello everyone, this is Taryn with Wonderfully Made Handcrafting. Today I am in day 4 of By the Well for God's Unchanging Majesty, and specifically I'm in Psalm 119, 151, and 152 today, which says, "But you are near, O Lord, and all your commandments are true. Long have I known from your testimonies that you have founded them forever." So I'm going to do this kind of mixed media background a little bit, just with a bunch of different products. So I'm using some Distress Oxide here in tea dye. Now I do have to say that this brush is old and probably needs to be washed. And so it really wasn't giving me the kind of look that I wanted. So I went and grabbed a different brush that worked a million times better. Look how much smoother this little makeup brush is. So I definitely have to go wash that other one. But I'm using tea dye and also Tattered Rose here, just giving a nice soft background that I will also use my stencil on. I'm going to use the Leaf Array stencil. This was released this past kit with Unchanging Majesty. And all I'm doing is laying it down in different places and using a baby wipe to kind of pull up a little bit of that Distress Oxide. It is a nice muted look, so it's not going to like pop out in your face that I've used a stencil here, but it gives a really nice texture in the background. I'll heat set this background and then I'm going to come in with some splatters. But first off, I got a little bit of Distress Oxide on the side and just using a little bit of a baby wipe and drying that off took it basically right off. So next up for this background, I have the Dina Wakley gloss sprays. These are going to make some great, almost enamel looking flecks and dots of paint. I find it best to just take this nozzle out and flick it where you want it, and even be purposeful and drop those dots in wherever you want. I also have this Lindy's Starburst sprays. I have had these for years and honestly haven't gotten as much use out of them as I've wanted to, but I'm determined to use them now because I really like the end results. This is in the color Cape Cod Coral, and it just has some nice color with a mica kind of shine finish to it. Now, before I start working on my cluster, I'm going to date stamp this and also underline the verses that I was working through today. And so I'm just going to take my little 6-inch ruler and my Energel Clinic pen. This is in a 0.4 nib, so it has a nice thin line. And then these are all the florals that I cut out during my retreat this past weekend. I cut them out using the second paper pack that was released last month, or actually this month, with the Unchanging Majesty kit. This was the abstract florals, and I basically, for the most part, used the back sides. That was just a fun distressed look with some variation in the colors. So I cut those all out using the Brushstroke Flowers dies from Tim Holtz and a couple other Tim Holtz floral dies. I really like his greenery pieces as well. So you'll see a bunch of different flowers coming into play here. I also have this frame I've said in the past, and multiple people have told me that they've picked it up. This is my favorite frame from Tim Holtz. It was an impresslet and is no longer made. However, you can still find them sometimes on Amazon, sometimes on eBay, but Sizzix decided that it would no longer make it anymore, which makes me incredibly sad and makes me want to purchase another one just to have when this one gives up the ghost. But anyways, here I am just making all these clusters of these greenery and floral pieces from all my die cuts. This took me probably an afternoon to put together all these pieces, but it is totally worth it because once they're done, you can really put together a page quite fast, and that is what I like about batch making. So a lot of times, if I have a chance, I will get ready for a kit before I get it and just start pumping out some different things that I know that I can use for that next kit, or just that I can use in general. So now I have a bunch of these all set, so I could even do a whole nother page with these floral pieces, and I also have frames cut out, lace cut out, just a ton of other things that I have in my stash ready to go. If you've watched any of my videos, you've heard me say it a million times, but I prefer to make clusters off the page. I find that I can get the placement better on all the pieces that I want to add, and so that is more helpful to me. I also try to do everything in either a diagonal or a triangle shape because it's more pleasing to the eye. Eventually, I will put this cluster in the lower right-hand corner of this page, and then it just has a really nice look to it, and it's not just centered smack down in the middle. I never want to leave pieces that I've cut off just alone, and so I've cut off one of these little berries, and I will add that to another place in this cluster just because I know that I probably won't use that again if it's just one little berry. And so since I have berries in here already, I will just add that there. So you'll see me pick that up in a second, but right now it's just kind of layering layers upon layers of greenery and florals until I feel like it looks good. It's hard to explain exactly for a cluster what happens when I decide that it's over or that it's complete. It's just kind of what appeals to me and what looks good to me. So now to make this vellum a little bit easier to read, I will prop this up on some foam tape, and that will just give some separation between the background and the vellum, and so that way it is easier to read. I will also add all the little foam tape to the florals, the bigger pieces at least, and that will help the whole cluster stay together a little bit more and not flop down. If you haven't had a chance to see what I've typed on that vellum yet, I typed "founded them forever," which is the ending of verse 152 out of Psalm 119 today. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. You can also follow me over on Instagram at Wonderfully Made Handcrafting, and also over on Facebook. I will try to link everything I use down below in the description. I'll talk to you later. Bye.